I guess for some context, I'm a conservation photographer. What differentiates that from a wildlife or natural photographer is, let's say, nature photographer will take a photo of, let's say, an orangutan, and a conservation photographer will take a photo of that orangutan with bulldozers in the background. We add context, we tackle issues, and that's basically what we do. And my focus has always been shark, ray, and turtle conservation. Hence all the shark photos. It's been an uphill battle for us, especially since if you've seen Jaws, read the book, basically the shows that scared us out of the water, Sharknado. And what people tend to forget is sharks are not like that. They don't just outright go after you when they see you underwater. They're a lot smarter than that you give them credit for. And one thing we always say when I give these talks is that imagine how many humans were killed or fatalities per year are caused by sharks. And when I ask that, people would say 1,000, 50, probably hundreds, and they get surprised when I say no, it's actually 20 or less each year. And you can imagine how many people go into the water each year. Exponentially, it gets bigger and bigger, and yet we kill almost 75 to 150 million sharks per year. So really, who is the monster now? That's a question.
Noel, that's crazy.
It is. It is.
20 people. Did you say they die a year or?
Yeah. No, those are we tend not to call them shark attacks. Okay, so what we always say that there are no dangerous sharks, only dangerous situations, right? You in South Africa, a lot of surfers go into the water and start surfing, and they have 6, 7, 8 whites, great whites under them, and they don't even notice. They don't even bother those surfers, right? And usually, what happens is they are placed in a situation when the shark is confused, and so we call them shark encounters rather than shark attacks. They're not premeditated. They just happen because they happen. So yeah.
And can we just clear something up?
Sure.
Has anyone ever been blamed for their clothes? What clothes they were wearing? Why they were attacked?
Somehow I knew you were going to ask that. No, thank God, no.
It's
right?
not the clothes.
No, it's not the clothes. Not at all. Not at all, man. Not at all.
20 deaths worldwide?
Yes, worldwide. Usually it is. It's really small. And usually what happens is when we try to give these talks, James, if you let me explain it, sometimes the behavior of sharks, there are some sharks who are really skittish, right? When you get into the water, you see them like that thresher shark that you saw, the one with the long tail. The moment it sees you, it's going to bail. You have to understand that bubbles coming from our scuba tanks are alien to them. So it scares them, right? They just go haywire. But then you have those more curious or bolder sharks, like let's say the tiger sharks, the great whites, the oceanic white tips. Those guys, you have to imagine the ocean as one big desert, and they have to investigate each and every splash they hear, for food. It's an opportunity for them. So normally when they see something, they don't have hands. So the only thing that they could do is try to bump you if they are curious enough for that, But normally when you swim towards them, they usually go away when they know that you're not prey. And if they feel that it's an opportunity for them, since they don't have hands, they do what you call an investigative bite, exploratory bite, sorry. So, and then they find out, this is not my food. And then they just go away. But of course, for us, they think it's harmless, but for us, it's actually quite deadly at times. So especially for those surfers, who get their legs cut off. So that is usually how they explain it. That's what happens because they can't see in the surf, so they try to bite, and then they realize we're not prey because we're skin and bones to them. They prefer seals, they prefer tuna, they prefer fatty prey, and when they bite a human, usually it's not what they want. But for us, it would usually bleed to death. So that would be the 20 probably that you get.
75 million sharks, so 150. Did I hear that correctly? Or did you say we're killing that many a year?
Yes.
Or there was that many. I'm ignorant, I know, but I didn't know that the population of sharks in general reached that many.
That's why it's not really. You have we catch them mainly for half of that. I would have to say I'd attribute to what you call non-targeted catch. So let's say you have these commercial fishing vessels, they catch tuna, and then these sharks, because of the congregation, they get tangled into the net and they get brought in. But there are targeted fisheries that go for the shark's fin, right?
Mm.
So that's what they serve. It's a Chinese dish. So what they do is that when they catch these big, magnificent sharks, while they're still alive, off the side of the boat, they cut off the fins. So imagine your hands, your legs, and your arms getting cut off, thrown back into. They get that, and then they throw you back to the sea. And since you can no longer swim, you can't breathe, you drown. So that's what happens to those sharks, and we decimate them because of shark's fin soup, which is actually full of mercury. They say it's for what do you call this? It's for virility, but it's not true.
Yeah, I saw it was Anthony Bourdain's version of that. Or did you see that? Was it Anthony Bourdain? No, I think it was Gordon Ramsay.
I
Gordon
missed
Ram-
that. Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay did a very powerful episode on shark's fin, and it's still happening. I mean, like there's a lot of worldwide movement towards banning that. Is it
Mhm.
making a dent at all, or is it just
I think the most successful one was I think it was who's that? Escapes me the Chinese basketball player, the
oh
pretty
yeah,
tall guy.
NBA, NBA,
Sorry,
NBA,
yeah.
Chinese? Gosh,
Who's that tall guy again?
Ming, is it Yao?
Tito'clockers, help us out.
Is it Yao?
Yao Ming, there you go. So he
Okay.
made this campaign and for Wild Aid, and he basically showed what happens to these sharks, and that one made a dent. And so personally, because of my advocacy, whenever we'd have these lunches, family lunches, and they ask them, where are we having lunch? No, so and then they say it's a Chinese restaurant, and then I check. I have a list of restaurants that serve shark's fin, and I don't go to them. So that's my own way of avoiding that. So yeah, it's gonna get a bit political now, James. No, I'm just
There you
kidding.
go.
No, okay. So this
I stopped
photo.
with that Congress joke.
Okay, so this photo is a crab in a Zagu cup, right? So I took this in March of 2019, last year, and I was with Greenpeace, and the whole point that we had to do was try to take photos of plastic in the most pristine environment that we could think of. So the Philippines is in the center of what you call the Coral Triangle. It's like the Amazon of the ocean. So most of the new species come out here. We're surrounded by dolphins, with whales, with sharks, and everything. And then at the center of this Coral Triangle is actually in what you call the Verde Island Passage in Batangas, right? So what we wanted to see was at that precise place how much plastic there was there. So when we went diving, I was with my good friend Bugs Rosales, who was shooting video. In just 5 minutes, we saw everything from diapers to plastic packagings and everything. And then as I was ending my dive, I saw this cup and I wanted to get the branding on it. So I was taking pictures of it. Oh, it's a Zagu cup. And then as it got closer, I noticed that there was a crab inside it, and I started taking pictures. And finally, when I got back to the ship and we released it, it went viral. It was on the front page of broadsheets around the world, in Madrid, in France, in Paris, in Russia. It was also picked up by National Geographic 3 times, and it made a big noise about what single-use plastic, is doing for the ocean, right? And so that was what the effect of that was, and people of course reacted to it. The first thing that they said was that, you know what, this is caused by people not properly disposing of their trash, just throwing it out and letting it go into the sea. Well, while it is correct, it's not exactly that. In the Philippines, or sorry, worldwide, only 91% of all plastic has ever been recycled. And
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
and ever since I think the 70s, only 91% of all plastic has been recycled. That's correct. Only 9% was recycled.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Okay. So people normally say that, you know what, it's okay, we can use plastic and then we'll just recycle it. But that's the thing, it doesn't happen. So even if I use that Zagu cup and I dispose of it properly in, like, let's say, a non-biodegradable bin, there is no way to go. There's nowhere to go for that cup. The most successful one was, I think, in Germany, where 24% of their plastic is being recycled. But here, the Philippines, we don't have that infrastructure. So even if I use that cup, throw it in the proper bin, it goes back into the sea. So the solution really is to not use plastic. That is the whole recycling thing, the eco bricks thing. That's all what you call end of pipe. That's what we do for plastic that's already existing. But if you start refusing plastic, then you don't add, to the trouble. Because aside from this crab in a cup, I've seen turtles with plastic coming out of their anus because they ate it. So we had to sort of pull it out. I've seen plastic smothering reefs and everything. So once you start diving, it really opens up everything for you, and you realize, no, I won't buy na lang siguro a cup. I'll just bring or mineral water. I'll just bring my own tumbler or something. It changes you profoundly, and that's why if you start diving, get a bit more serious about things.
Wow. I didn't know I was going to open up that Pandora's box. I mean,
It is.
I knew obviously you're conservationist, and I knew
Yeah.
that you would have something to say about it. I just didn't have any idea that you, one, took those photos that went completely viral, and that 9% figure is something that's going to keep me up at night.